I want to thank Keen so much for sponsoring today's video. Keen provides access to vetted psychics and spiritual advisors who provide guidance and insight on life's challenges, clarity in love, relationships, career, and so much more. My personal favorite thing about Keen is that their advisors are available 24/7. There's always someone online, and you can even easily schedule a call with an advisor. This way, you can figure out what you would like to have answered and how you would like it to have it answered, all from the comfort of your own home. As a new Keen customer, when you use my link below, trykeen.com/supermoontarot, you will get your first 10 minutes for just $1.99. Pricing then depends on which advisor you choose, and the services are backed with a satisfaction guarantee. Keen is the most affordable way to meet new advisors. When you find the right advisor, developing an ongoing relationship leads to a number of benefits. Monthly intention setting, gaining clarity on the significance of the synchronicities you're going through, chakra clearing, and so much more. Each week, Keen sends its users discounts on readings. This makes Keen one of the most affordable ways to receive multiple psychic readings. If you're a current Keen user, check your email to see this week's discounts right now. In my personal experience, I tried out a couple psychics to see which one would work with me best, and all of them were kind and considerate and extremely helpful in their own unique ways. So sometimes you might find certain psychics that give better information when it comes to money questions, and others that work better with your relationships. That's the benefit of having all these different advisors to choose from. Signing up for Keen is incredibly easy. All you have to do is let them know how you're feeling, what you'd like to specifically speak about, how you would like to receive your message, and then you're ready to go and to pick from a large assortment of advisors you can personally connect with. Again, I wanted to thank Keen so much for sponsoring today's video. Thank you! Hi, I'm Supermoon Tarot, and in today's video, we're going to be answering the question, what the universe wants you to know. This is something interesting I want you to ponder, because the universe takes on, many concepts for different people. And we all have our own perspective of what the universe means to us. For this question, I want you to think of the idea of the universe being this forever existing thing. And in life, when we feel off, when we feel anxious, when we don't know where to go next, that's us being out of flow in the universe. Remember, there is not one singular path or way that you need to live your life, and you especially should not compare yourself to others. That is the utmost important. You are the perfect missing puzzle piece of how the universe all comes together to become one. And you have to be your own, individual in order to fulfill that place. But in order to be that best version of yourself, that puzzle piece, what is off or needs to be kind of help you get realigned so you can feel in the flow? So consider this question like the universe reaching out saying, I see you need help, consider this. So that's just something to think about during this pick a card. As you can see in this pick a card, my amethyst and spirit quartz were like, please let us be in the video. And I was like, of course. So we have 4 card groups in front of us. 1, 2, 3, 4. We got clear quartz in number 1, citrine in number 2, pink opal in number 3, and red desert jasper in number 4. I'm going to give you a moment to pick the group that you resonate with most. Now that you've picked that group, you can go down to the description where you can skip to your designated group and mark timestamp, and let's get ready with group number 1. Group number 1, let's find out what the universe wants you to know by looking at the cards. Your affirmation card is... Sorry, I just got very excited for you. The universe has big plans for me, and it's time to claim them. Okay, I'm pretty pumped for you. You can't see it, but I'm going like this. I'm so excited for you. Golden Palace is super, super positive and directly reflects this. So this is a double confirmation of all this good stuff coming in your life. But I'll be honest with you, the undertone with this affirmation card and this card popping up too almost implies that there's this good stuff coming your way, but they're doing it as a reminder to say, okay, we're gonna have to look at some other stuff before we get there, so keep this in mind to keep you motivated. So Did I not call it turquoise? Okay, we're going to be getting into this oracle card in a moment, but let's look at our story going on here. Got the Devil card upright. Strength card in reverse. Death card in reverse. Ooh, the Devil card upright twice. Okay, good to know. Six of Cups in reverse. Yeah, Four of Cups in reverse. It's so funny. I'm definitely reading it differently than I normally do, especially with the Devil cards popping up. So let's get into all this goodness, because don't worry, there is a lot of goodness. There's stuff to keep in mind in order to help you gain like inner power and take a hold of that and embody that in order to help you transition into all this good stuff. The good stuff is inevitable, but this will, how do I put this? Sometimes people or events and things come into our lives and we think of it as like taking the bait, like the drama bait. And it's super easy to get caught up in that and then not allow yourself to realize the good stuff's already happening. You're getting all this. It's like someone being mean to you and you just got a job promotion. It's like, I understand that that wasn't fun. Somebody was mean to you, but you just got a job promotion. Change your perspective. Look over here, not there. You know what I mean? So don't worry, there's some good stuff coming your way, but we want to talk about all of it. So first, the universe has big plans for me and it's time to claim them. This is a mantra I want you to say to yourself repeatedly all this week. This mantra will tell your subconscious that you are somebody that has true inner power. You can handle it. You can change your own fate. The best word is handle it. It's like when you get all this good stuff, sometimes it can be overwhelming for people. You can be really busy, or it can, weirdly, it's like too much light can be overwhelming when you've been in the shadows for too long is the best way I can put it. But this is saying, nope, I'm ready. And I'm ready for the good stuff. I'm ready for my big dreams and goals to come true. I'm here. I have everything in place. I am available for it. This also tells your other emotions to kind of like get themselves sorted naturally, like they'll work themselves out in order to be this version of yourself, in order to accept all this goodness. But this is also a great mantra to say to yourself so that when stuff comes in your way and you don't want to really deal with it, you're like, no, I don't have time for you. I only have my hand out for the good stuff, and you will not be in that. Do you know what I mean? This gets extended upon with the Golden Palace Oracle card upright that I'm thrilled that you got. This is a card I don't get very often because not many of us just naturally come into a time period of just like happiness, optimism. These are the good times where things feel joyous and serendipitous. This is a card that pops up when you have a lot of good fortune in your life. Money definitely will be coming into your life over this time period. I would say love, but think of it as just like you feel like no matter who you're with romantically, it just feels like a nice connection and you're enjoying it for whatever it is. So overall, it's like a happy, optimistic time. But there's a lesson to be learned in this oracle card. When this optimism and happy time period comes into your life and all this good fortune comes your way, it's saying that it's not about just enjoying this stuff, this like material good. It's about understanding that abundance comes from within. That when you are your most authentic self, that is your form of abundance. And this is kind of like a secret message. It's saying like, if you feel abundant within because of this attitude, because you can never, if you're true, like who you truly are can never be taken away or made or broken with material items or even relationships with other people. Do you see what I'm saying? So if you always like hold this kind of internally, then you're always therefore attracting more optimism, more happiness, more money, more good relationships, stuff like that. Now, when you say, how do I be my most authentic self? I want to be absolutely clear about this. Many people use the term good and bad. Am I a good or a bad person? Should or shouldn't do this? Think of it this way. If your most authentic version of yourself involves jumping into the pool at maybe at like a barbecue, and at that point, maybe you're with a lot of serious people and it would be frowned upon, but that's what you would do. That's how you're living your happiest, truest version of yourself. Then do that. That's the right choice to make. As long as you're not, doing anything bad or, hurting anyone's feelings really that deeply, it's about making a choice at the end of the day where you're like, you know what, I felt like the truest version of me. I found it in that little moment, in that little action, and I just don't need to, I don't even feel the need to apologize. I was just being me. When you connect to that version of yourself, you'll only keep attracting this more and more. But this is giving you the nice environment to feel safe enough to be that best version of yourself. So woo, woo, woo. Now let's get into what's going on here, because our story definitely starts with the turquoise oracle card. So, do you hear I'm getting winded? It's because the air conditioner is on energy save, and when it gets hot in here, it's like, it starts to take away my breath unintentionally. So anyways, the turquoise oracle card is the storytelling stone. This is a great stone because it tells you that when you look back at the past, this is giving you the compliment that you've matured enough that you were able to now see all the different angles and perspectives that was really going on in that memory or event, and that you have the power to change them. Remember, whatever we experience in life are the lies we tell ourselves, because many times, like, there's good and bad stuff happening us all around, but what we give more attention to, or we says has more validity to us, is the thing that gains the most power in our life. Do you see what I'm saying? You can do that with memories too. You can time travel and say, you know what, this really happened. Or you could change the perspective of it. So like, let's say unfortunately you were bullied, right? You could look at that experience and say to yourself, you know what? What was I feeling bad about myself and hurt by that? Or did I learn that I radiated and shined so much that it bothered people and brought out other people's shadow versions of themselves, and they didn't like that, so they wanted to push that away because they didn't like having to look at themselves? Do you see what I'm saying? You can rewrite your own history. So this is about perspective, maturity, but it's just about understanding that you have true power. We talked about true power over here and claiming that true power, that you have that ability to be the version you want to be. And sometimes that involves healing the past in that kind of way. Now, the past is something important I want you to hold on to when we look at these set of cards, because it pops up a couple times. So the Devil card can take a couple different forms. It can be a person in your life. It can be an unhealthy habit you have. Often this pops up when we are doing something, if it is habitual, it's something where we binge a lot and then we restrict a lot. So maybe you talk to this person a lot and then they ghost you, or you ghost them. Maybe you partake of too much of this enjoyable thing and then you pull it away for too long. Either way, no matter the way you go about, taking in this habitual habit, this is understanding that there is a void or a hole in your life that cannot be fulfilled with this activity. Your body, your soul is just so desperately trying to make it feel better. So we have to love and forgive that side of ourselves that's trying to make the best decision it's just trying, it's attempting to make things better. But unfortunately, it's kind of acting as a sort of obstacle or preventing us from ultimately succeeding, because we know you ultimately are succeeding. Now, the reason why I say that this can be a combination of a person or a habit is, for you, it's both. I can see over here in the Six of Cups, this is somebody from your past. So they seem like they're popping up. I'm being told for a majority of you, this is somebody that just still keeps kind of popping up in your life. Talk to them for a couple weeks, then you talk to them again. Talk to them for a couple weeks, then you talk to them again. It's becoming more scarce, but it's still an issue. They still haven't left your life for the most part. But now we're going to talk about the Strength card in reverse. We're just going to refer to it as your sacral chakra, your sacral chakra in that area. This is when you partake in this type of activity, you either do it too much and without a lot of self-love, or you view it negatively and you put too much weight on it and you think it's somehow a bad thing to experience. And either way, you're not properly taking care of yourself and this part of yourself with this other person. They do not help. In fact, we'll just say they hinder this part of you by messing with this part of you, and you don't know how to act around them because you can't help it. You want to engage in this type of activity because you think that this will fulfill that void within you, but it won't. In fact, we get two double reminders of things to contemplate. In the Death card, this is a card that when it's upright, whether it's upright or reverse, it essentially says that you're going through a time of a big rebirth or change or metamorphosis. You're becoming a whole new version of you. And the thing is, you're kind of hindering it's going to happen. I'm sorry, but it's going to happen. You don't have a choice. It's already in the process. But you're kind of hurting yourself by slowing it down by partaking these activities. This person is just not going to be a part of the new version of you. These activities, they're not going to change. Their role is meant to be toxic so that you can then say, oh, I don't want that in my life. Do you see what I'm saying? They're not going to change. This is what they're meant to fulfill. They're successfully fulfilling that role. And then you need to decide, do you want that to continue to be in your life or not? Because when we leave that version of us in the past, that trait, that person that embodies that concept, we have to leave the old parts of us behind in order to grow. The Death card in reverse explicitly talks about kind of meeting up with somebody again from your past. So again, we get that double confirmation here, talking about it being a specific person you're going to be coming in contact with, talking explicitly about this. And I'll just tell you this, if you do have another sacral chakra encounter again, I'm going to be honest with you, you're not going to be satisfied or fulfilled by it. So you might as well save yourself the hurt. These are just some things to consider. That's all. Also, something else to consider with the Death card in reverse is sometimes it's comforting to be this version of ourselves, to go back to this person, because it's what we know. And when we go into the new version of ourselves, how do I put this? It's like, let's say the old version of you was really fun and silly and liked to party or whatever like that. Sometimes it's hard to be like, oh, I'm getting rid of that. I liked that version of myself. Well, I'm sorry, you're going to have to. You're starting you're going to be new. Maybe you do like to have fun, but you do it in a different way in the future. And that's okay. It's difficult. It's weird. It's emotional. It feels like a part of you is dying, and kind of it is. But this is just the process in life. And you're going to be, at the end of it, really happy. We talked about all this good stuff coming your way, but it's going to be gotten rid of, so to speak. This is you choosing to get rid of this person in order to move towards regrowth. But a second thing I want you to keep in mind is with the Four of Pentacles in reverse. So when we have this going on, this type of activity that is very opening oriented, it feels like when you're with this other person, they're forcing you to open up. When we have a Four of Pentacles situation, I want you to keep in mind you have limited resources right now. We're talking about energy, especially around your sacral chakra, limited emotions. You only have so much. And now is the time to conserve and be quote unquote selfish. That is such a weird word for me, because doing things for yourself is not a negative thing, but we only have the one word that's also used as the definition of what it is to be selfish, do something for yourself, but it's also defined as like a negative term. So I just want to be clear, I'm using it in the positive way. But it's right now is the time to be selfish and take time for yourself, because they're forcing you to give resources and energy and emotions you just don't have to give. And again, in order to grow and then welcome all this positive success in your life, it's about getting rid of them. Now, the thing that's important I want you to take note of before I end this reading is, remember storytelling. What do you tell yourself every time this person comes around? Do you keep saying to yourself, oh, they're so great. They always were there for me when the time was right. They made me feel good. Look back at that perspective again. Were they doing that? Or were they making themselves feel better? That's just something to consider. It's whatever your individual story is. But storytelling and re-looking at how you guys have been together and what that's been like, there's something there you need to re-look at now that you've gained a lot of maturity and perspective just in life in general. So I'm excited for you, because you're going to gain a lot of empowerment and growth, and you're really evolving in a super complex way. And you're basically going to be walking into all this like good fortune and feeling really strong and independent and amazing and happy optimism. And I definitely, Spirit keeps telling me about money. Keeps telling me about lots of small, little, tiny opportunities to make money. Like freelance work? Kind of feels like freelance work is what I'm hearing. So that's just something else to consider. But anyways, I'm very excited for you. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this reading as much as I did. Please consider giving it a like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out the channel like you would not believe. Have a wonderful day. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye. Oh wait, group number 2. I forgot. Group number 2. Let's find out what the universe wants you to know by looking at the cards. Your affirmation card is directing my focus onto what's thriving creates more of what I want. Oh, that has a tone to it. I love it. And I was right. It has a tone to it. Okay, Stormfield's Oracle card upright. Do not worry. Especially do not worry. We have Moldavite? It's like, I know all the crystals, but you know, you say the crystal in your head, but when you have to say it out loud, you're like, I don't know how to properly pronounce it. Anyways, this is really positive. Let's look at what's going on, though, to explain all this. We've got 4 of Wands upright. Are those my neighbors? Okay, we're good. Okay. 6 of Pentacles in reverse. 8 of Wands upright, the Emperor upright, Judgment upright, and our final card is 5 of Cups in reverse. Okay, no worries. We had an up, a down, an up, and some more ups and downs. Okay, this is great. This is ultimately really positive for you, and I'm excited. But this is sort of like a comforting affirmation to some stuff that you're currently going through, as well as slipping into, so that when you experience some rough waters, you can understand that it's all going to be okay. And this is weirdly, how do I say this? Sometimes when we grow and we move towards better things, it is not simply a progression of linear bad to good. You know what I mean? So sometimes what feels like bad is ultimately weirdly still good. You know what I mean? But let's get away from those terms good and bad, because that's not at all how the universe works. Those concepts aren't even relevant as far as the universe is concerned. So first, I want to focus on Stormfield's Oracle card upright, buried right underneath here. No, I'm not going to touch anything. I'm going to ruin it. This essentially talks about the idea of kind of when you start having arguments and some sort of fight with someone in particular, or in general, like a bad mood in yourself. But this usually pops up when you're having a disagreement with someone else. This is what pops up specifically when there's stuff left unsaid or pent-up energy that you've been wanting to say to this other person for a while. This is a good thing, weirdly enough, because the Stormfield Court card basically says that when there is a storm, there is water. And water, you know, gives nutrients to the ground, which gives green grass. So what seems uncomfortable and quote-unquote bad, as we were jokingly calling it now, is actually making way for something good in the long term. This is a great way of finally relieving stuff that you should have been addressing before. It's about understanding where you and this other person kind of fit with the other one, and what you ultimately want in the long term, by being able to be forced to stand up for yourself and say, I don't want to be treated this way, or I don't like this. When you're saying those things, make note of that. Does that person care? What bothers you? What do you need to work on? If you believe in shadow work or working on your shadow self are the parts of yourself that are like double standards you hold for other people, but you don't hold yourself accountable for. It's when you feel things like jealousy, or you just get triggered with those type of uncomfortable emotions. Those type of emotions like anger and stuff are secondary responses to the real issue at hand, and they're trying to kind of like let you know, hey, there's something you gotta work on. But in this case, it's about a little bit of your own self and your association with this other person. But here's the cool thing with the over here with the Moldavite, if I'm saying that correctly. This crystal is weirdly like a metaphor for crystals. This talks about this fight being this positive omen, that you're going through this rebirth, this transformation, and you're leaving old stuff behind by confronting it. This crystal reminds us that in order to make a crystal, there has to be a certain amount of pressure and like tension in order for it to form. So what feels intense now and feels like this building up of energy is actually forming this beautiful crystal that you're, becoming, you're blooming into. I don't know if you can bloom into a crystal, but you'll be the first. So this is where the idea comes in when we talk about the idea of directing my focus onto what's thriving creates more of what I want. This is being aware, where am I focusing my attention? Because on one hand, you do want to have this argument, you do want to have this confrontation because it's helping address a lot of things and clear the air. But after that, have you been put into a position for a while where people keep forcing you to be confrontational? That's the biggest thing I feel popping up, Spirit's telling me about, and I'm seeing in the cards. People are forcing you to be this way and have to react this way. And while that's unfair and isn't cool, you can't always change other people. Actually, you can never change other people, but you can change how you react to them. So as difficult, and I do say this because from what I'm picking up, you guys are in this particular situation where it's not going to be an immediate fix where you can just like move out, be out of this position immediately. So you can only do what you can do right now. So even though it's uncomfortable, they're trying to put this upon you, there are still moments in between that are positive and that are still yours. When they put something on you, you can say to yourself, what do I want to focus on? The fact that they're making me uncomfortable, or focus on, wow, they are so uncomfortable with me being my best self that they somehow want to put that down. Or clearly I exude such a wonderful free energy that intimidates them and they're not sure how to process that. So you're more focusing on what you emanate, or focusing on, oh wow, they must be really suffering in order to perpetuate this much of a confrontational atmosphere. Do you see what I'm saying? And where you put more of that attention and feed is what's going to really grow and bloom. So you want to have on one hand this tension in order to address and figure out what you need to leave behind when we talk about the transformation and rebirth. But after that, the rebirth, the transformative version of yourself is going to look at these things from a better perspective in order to grow more positivity in your life and therefore attract better situations. Slowly kind of have this peter out, have this other person become more and more distracted and lose interest in wanting to be up in your face so much. But let's get into specifics over here. I can see in the Four of Wands, this is a home situation. This is a home family. It feels like family oriented, I'll be honest with you. But this can totally, sorry, I have my air conditioner off and it just makes me so winded for some weird reason when I'm recording. But anyways, the Four of Wands talks about this could be a roommate situation. It's just somebody you live with. It's very close in your atmosphere. But either way, I can tell over here they're asking too much of you. They are using you. They're trying to use up your generosity. This shows me that, how do I say this? Even though it's really beautiful, your natural instinct is to be good and be kind and want to help other people, and that's not something you necessarily should change or look down upon or see as a crux. This rebirth and transformative version of you is going to look back at this and go, how can I still keep this version of myself without being taken advantage of, and realize who deserves this version and this ability I have and who doesn't. This person sees that and wants some of that, and I can see you starting to direct your attention away from them and give that kindness so you can reap what you sow back. Because I just want to point this out, this ability you have when we have the Six of Pentacles is the secret to your manifesting. Because you believe there is always abundance in the world, and that therefore, why not give other people an opportunity to thrive? There's always more room for everyone to thrive. It's saying to the universe, oh, of course I'm always going to be successful. Of course I always have more to obtain. I have always more to receive. So you want to keep going with this attitude. But when you're around people that take and take and take and take and take, it becomes this mindset of like, oh, it's only about me giving, rather than seeing the concept of the whole and your original motivation as to why you like to give and why you like to see people happy. Now, the beautiful thing is, after this fight, this confrontation, as if you will, I can see some things are going to be changing dramatically fast. We're talking about this, the Spirit's telling me, interesting, you're going to be outside a lot, and I'm not seeing them really in your life a lot. I'm seeing a very intense amount of energy spiritually coming your way that's going to be a little bit overwhelming to process, because this is a form of your transformation, which is really good. Often people experience physical ailments like headaches and stuff like that from when there's a belief that when you experience headaches or like digestive problems or stuff like that, it's your consciousness changing, which is affecting your DNA being rewritten. So don't be surprised if you suddenly feel very spacey and lightheaded as you kind of are away from this other person. You're going through a detox of all their energy. You're growing and becoming this new version of you. You're letting that old version of you that got taken advantage of a lot let go. So just understand that this is like all part of the process. None of it's bad. It just might be like a little jarring to go through because it's coming in real fast with you. But it seems to be all moving towards the Emperor, which is beautiful. So again, we talked about the idea of it's not bad that you're a kind and generous person, but it's about the overarching values and ideas behind this. The Emperor represents the foundation you want to build now that's going to give you long-term success. We talked about how you can manifest with this generosity that you have. So what you have down that you're going to be building towards after this confrontation, understanding like, well, what are my core values, ideas, beliefs as you move forward, and how you interact with people, and who gets to see this version of yourself or experience this version of yourself or not, and understanding that you're not a bad person by setting boundaries. That's an important thing Spirit wants you to know. There's boundaries, you're allowed to set them, you're going to get real comfortable with them, you're going to love them, but still somehow be your truest and freest version of yourself. You see what I'm saying? So all this energy is coming in to help you rebuild that foundation that kind of got rocked and messed with and misunderstood because of this person's argumentative personality coming through. You're not going to have to deal with that anymore. You're rebuilding for a bright tomorrow, which is really beautiful. That's actually why this whole argument's happening, because of the Judgment card. I think that the Judgment card sometimes gets a bad rap. It feels tense, it feels negative. Judgment is an opportunity from the universe to give you what you want. So they're not trying to mess with you. The universe is not trying to mess with you. It's trying to say, would you like things to change? We're giving you a moment to change things. We're giving you a second to say, talk back to the exact problem that's been holding you back in your life and say, I'm not going to be treated this way. I'm not okay with this, this, and this. If I do this, you do this. And even if they respond in not a helpful way back, like they don't get what you're saying, they don't want things to change, they want you to just serve them, understand that that's your answer. The universe is helping you mirror back, saying, see, if they're a wall and they don't want to change, then why are you talking to the wall? You don't need to let your energy be fed here anymore. It's not going to go anywhere. It's bottomless. It's empty. It's a void. And you want to fill it somewhere where you want to think of like this other person as like a well, empty and deep and endless, and it doesn't ever seem to go anywhere or benefit anyone, compared to the future you'd like to have and the ideas you want to see grow and hobbies you want to be excited about and thoughts you'd rather have consuming your mind. Is like a tree. And as you give that attention, you're watering it, you're telling you love it, and you're watching it grow and become bigger and become something that can support you with its branches and lift you up into the sky. So the universe with this confrontation is like a loving way of saying, I'm giving you an opportunity to grow, so it's a good thing. It's not a test of being like, yeah, but can you handle it? Yeah, dance through my hoops. The universe does not work like that. Especially with the Five of Cups in reverse. This is our last positive omen. This is about understanding the concept of grief in order to let go of it. It's about accepting that was not cool that I went through that. I didn't love that. That wasn't fun. That's not what I wanted to experience, but I understand that it did happen. I'm no longer going to feed it attention. I'm able to let it go by accepting it and then going, okay, that happened. I understand. And now I can move on. You see what I'm saying? So basically the universe is giving you this lovely opportunity. They're letting you know this opportunity is presenting itself in this manner. So you can go, you can transform, you can get out of the situation, you can become the best version of you by understanding where you can direct your energies. And this is an important thing. This foundation time period is going to be huge because it's opening up basically a long-term, like not only success, but like spiritual connection with the universe. The more you say to the universe, I hear what you're saying, I'm down with it, I'm flowing with you, I get it, I gotta get this sorted, I got it when we talk about the tree analogy, I gotta get my soil, the right, pH and levels and everything like that. You're opening up a longer-term success. I feel redundant. You get what I'm saying. Anyways, so I'm really excited for you. You're going to be totally fine. You're going to be able to handle all this well, but this is like the loving hug and comfort from the universe that this is all going to be okay. It's for a greater purpose. So if you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like, comment, subscribe. It helps out the channel like you would not believe. Have a lovely day. I will see you in the next one. And let's get ready for group number 3. Group number 3, let's find out what the universe wants you to know by looking at the cards. We have true manifestations are powered by service and love. This is really interesting. Everybody has their interpretation of what service is. I have a specific interpretation about it, which is getting confirmed here, yes, with Oracle card Upright Spark. And then your other Oracle card is, how do I say this? Oh my goodness. We're going to say Shalancy. I know that's not correct at all, but we're just going to say that. Bluey. Oh my goodness. If you guys can pronounce this, please write it down in the description, in the comments below so I can figure this out. Let's look at the rest of our cards. We have Justice, upright. 9 of Cups, upright. The High Priestess, upright. Ooh, all fantastic cards. King of Swords in reverse. 8 of Pentacles, upright. And the Hermit card, upright. Ooh, sorry. Sorry if any of you don't like that. Just cracking my knuckles. Oh, okay, I know what's going on here. This is kind of like what we want to beware of. And this is like, everything's going right. So this is both a compliment to what you're going through right now and things that you should foster and things you should be aware of. Because sometimes when we're moving towards in a positive direction with like hobbies and interests and like that natural flow in the universe, we feel like everything's kind of lining up, we're enjoying what we're doing. We kind of start to micromanage and overanalyze, unfortunately, and kind of slowly and unintentionally, due to deep social norms, crush our own dreams because we think that it has to look or appear a certain way in order to continue to receive them, instead of just enjoying that nice, beautiful flow we're in. So keep that in mind. We're going to get into it. It's not saying that that's going to happen. It's just saying, hey, be aware. This is like something you might accidentally fall in the rut of. Beware of this so you can keep up that positive flow. So how do I want to start this? Okay, let's first start with Oracle card Spark. This talks about this beautiful spark kind of starting within you, but it specifically talks about the idea of creative projects. Are you reading books more? Is there some sort of hobby that you do with your hands, like anything from music to maybe you make tiny models, you know, how people like to make those tiny fake house models or whatever. Do you paint or draw? Is there something that you do and you create from your creativity internally and then you bring into the real world that's tangible? Something's blooming there and starting there. I do also want to talk about spirits telling me it can involve unusual sort of creation. It doesn't have to be artistic creation. Interesting. Okay, cool. Okay, well, thank you, Spirit Guides. So keep in mind, it's just things that you're creating, you have inside your head, inner monologue, and you're putting out there. So it can be verbal, I'm being told. Either way, this creation that's blooming inside you is something that you were meant to follow and continue. We're being confirmed here with the High Priestess card that you've got great intuition, you're flowing correctly, but this also talks about the idea that you're seeing your situation correctly, as in like, as you make decisions and you're like, I don't know if everyone else is doing this, but I feel like it's right to me that maybe we talk about painting again. I really want to use a lot of yellow. That's correct. You're totally in sync with what you're doing. Go for it. In fact, the High Priestess card is really someone, I mean, I personally really idolize the way she views life. She has no problem with being seen as an outsider if she feels that her ultimate decision is for the greater good of like the community, or she feels it's the more it's the right thing to do, kind of like authentic truth or whatever. And she doesn't care if everyone else isn't woke enough to get that. She'll just be like, yep, well, I'm sticking to my decision and my choices. Sorry, I don't care if you don't want to be friends with me. And then eventually everyone comes around because they're like, oh, whoops, you were right, we were wrong. So this is kind of the confirmation that like, if people don't get it right away, it's not saying that that's the case, but if everyone doesn't get it, especially, I'm being told by your spirit guides my spirit guide specifically, that it's sometimes your closest friends and family they'll be like, oh, that's nice. They're not going to exactly get it, and that's okay. And it's saying that they're going to eventually get it as long as you're just like really connected in your heart, knowing like you're doing the right thing. The Nine of Cups is this like really above average positive omen that as you continue this is going to bring you a lot of long-term success, but not just success like, oh, yay, more money, cool, or just, oh, yay, people really like what I have to offer. This is like whatever your dream life is, and you do want to get specific about this, you'll get everything and more. This is like 100%. There's no sacrifice of what you have to ditch out in order to get to this ultimate dream life. You can have it all. So make sure you understand what you want in the long term, because this is going to fuel that and make that happen, which is really beautiful. And this is where the Service card comes in when we talk about the Justice card. True manifestations are powered by service and love. This is so beautiful. So service in my head is something that's about what you think about and then you put out into the world. You had to work hard for it. Many people talk about the idea that manifesting is more than just saying, I wish that this happened. You have to then go out of your way to make it happen. So let's say you wanted to be a great writer. It's not about just wishing you're a great writer. It's about being a great writer, like actually writing something and then submitting to people. But you keep telling the universe, hey, as I submit out to different newspapers, or I write a book and I try to get it published, somebody eventually says yes to make this dream come true, but you're still actively working in the real world towards it. So again, we talk about creation, working on that stuff, service and hands, and also I just want to talk about the love thing. We talk about doing what you really love, being passionate about it, knowing that you're doing it for the greater good for you, the greater good for everybody else. But going back to the Justice card. Justice card is a positive affirmation that whatever you put in is what you're going to get back. So if you work hard, that's what you're going to get back. If you put in love and light and good intentions into what you're creating, other people are picking that up. I'm being told by spirit guides about energy work, that you are subconsciously much better at energy work like Reiki masters than you are aware of. So you can infuse energy into anything. You can infuse energy into videos. You can infuse energy into cards, anything. So when you're creating this thing that you're putting out there, make sure you get your energy set of what you want to put out there. You're being recommended it should be focused on love because that is the highest vibration. But whatever you want to put out there, be conscious of it. Because if you're just focused on, oh, I hope people like it. Oh, I'm so stressed about this. I'm stressed about it. People are going to pick up on that energy. And the best way to continue down this path of getting everything you want is just focus on being like, you know what? I'm loving what I'm doing. I love this. I know that I feel excited about what I'm creating. I know other people are going to be excited about that. And as you put that in there, people are going to pick that up as they come in contact with what you created. So that's super cool. So now let's focus on the things that you should be conscious of to avoid in order to not accidentally smush and push and accidentally mess this up, so to speak. So over here with our crystal, over here, our big bluey. I love that. Anyways, I wonder, does anyone have this crystal? Please let me know. How do you like working with it? This crystal talks about the idea of being slow and steady, that you're need to be aware that you're probably really excited, you're noticing positive results, people are going to really like what you have to offer. Again, not the closest people to you, but more like when you post out on social media, other people are going to get it, and it's going to, once it starts kicking off and building, you're going to feel this internal dialogue to be like, I got to work harder, I got to make more, there's so much opportunity, I got to take advantage of it. And this is saying, slow it down, you're going to regret it, you're going to get burnt out, Don't worry, the universe has got your back. Sometimes we get tricked by our ego that this is the best mentality to take on. In fact, our social norms are to work harder, make more. You already are doing that. Don't push yourself so that for the long term you can't do this. Trust me, I even speak from personal experience. I think this is great that the card said this. It's better to make one little thing every day over time, and you're going to definitely finish and accomplish that thing you wanted, compared to working really hard for 3 days, burning out, and being unable to work for weeks at a time. This is seriously, as somebody who's done many creative projects in the past, beware of this. This gets extended over here. So the King of Swords is our sort of controlling card. Way too overthinking, too rigid, too focused on routines. You are meant to go with that flow. So if you don't want to create in the morning and you want to take the day off or create later in the afternoon, go for it. The more you feel connected to this creative energy, this spark within you, the easier it will be to connect to those ideas instead of just staring. Again, we're just using an example like painting. Instead of just staring at that piece of paper for 2 hours going, I don't know what to make. Wait until you do. Go with the flow. Do not think that for you, for some people this works, for you, you don't need a schedule. You can trust in yourself that you are excited enough about the thing that you're making that you go with the flow. Or, now I know we talked about the idea of don't overwork yourself. That's true, but sometimes we get really excited and we want to work all day, not because we're being forced to, and we don't do it every single day. We're just being really particularly enthused this one particular day. Then go for it. Go with whatever floats your boat. This is more of a warning of like, don't do that every single day and do it out of the motivation of thinking you have to in order to get, more followers or more money, or don't do that. Then over here we have Eight of Pentacles and the Hermit, something to keep in mind. So it's interesting because these cards are both upright, which would signify positive readings, but this is what I'm just telling for my other fellow tarot readers so they can know. Not every card, if it's upright or reverse, is actually read as upright and reverse. You'll know as your intuition builds and you build like that sort of connection with your cards, and if you want to work with your spirit guides like I do. So I'm being told that the Eight of Pentacles is a warning of perfectionism. If you feel like the thing you're done needs still to be cleaned up, and like again we're using like drawing and stuff like as an example, I'm sorry, but you're going to post that thing. You're basically being told you need to let go of that because perfectionism has the potential in this particular situation to build and build and build and eat you alive. It's good enough. Don't worry about it. It's not about being sloppy, but don't allow perfectionism to kill your fun of creating. Try hard, make things, but if it's like, 85%, put it out there. Don't worry. Focus on making more things. Enjoy your life. But more importantly, it's not about making more. It's about enjoying the act of creativity without putting some sort of chain or limitation on yourself. You know what I mean? And interestingly enough, the Hermit pops up too, talking about being overly analytical of your project. And interestingly enough, it doesn't want you to isolate yourself. It seems like you're going to get a lot of creative inspiration by being around the occasional person and talking to someone and taking breaks and thinking and thriving. Don't allow yourself to become so isolated accidentally by working too much. This is not how you're going to fuel this creation to continue to let it grow, to allow all this positive flow of your dreams coming true in the long term with like money and buying the things you want to buy, maybe moving to a dream place or whatever. So just keep that stuff in mind. So essentially this is like a compliment of saying like, you're doing something, it's working, keep going for it, you've got this, you're going. But, however, beware. Beware of this stuff. If you start to notice these habits popping up, slow down, breathe, take a break, go hang out with a friend. For fun, again, we talked about the idea of lack of perfectionism. Draw something. Again, I'm just using it as an example. Draw something, post it, make sure it's a doodle. Just put it out there. Practice these things in order to combat them, or slow down when you start to notice these as your like red flags that will be the thing to hinder this beautiful natural growth. Remember, love and your work is going to be the thing that fuels you in the long term. What you put in there is what you're going to get back. So I'm so excited for you. You've got a bright creative future ahead of you, and I think that's particularly exciting. And whenever you're in this flow, I just want to put this in personally. This is something that makes you feel connected to your soul, It makes you feel connected to other people. It makes you feel connected to the universe. So the universe is particularly excited that you're in this like mindset and of creation. So yeah, I mean, the universe knows all about creation. So anyways, if you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like, comment, subscribe. It helps out the channel like you would not believe. Have a lovely day. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. And let's get ready for group number 4. Group number 4, let's find out what the universe wants you to know by looking at the cards. We have your affirmation card. When I live and act from a place of spiritual alignment, I can trust that everything is working out for me, even if I don't know when or will it will happen. Spirits tell me about attachment. Interesting. Like non-attachment? Oh, interesting. Non-attachment is the perfect word for the flying oracle card upright. Okay, that's cool. All right, Spirit, you are right again. Blue Lisa Gates, oracle card. Okay, so let's look at the rest of your cards. Oh, good for you. Oh, nice. That's cool. Ooh, interesting. Ooh, very interesting. Okay. I didn't read the cards out at all. I was like totally vibing with your spread. This is interesting. This is so interesting because it feels like, okay, so ultimately I see a lot of positive stuff coming your way, and I see an ultimate, form of success for you. I'm really excited for you, but it almost feels like this vibe of you're going to be learning something. You already know it's there. You haven't quite identified what this, we'll call it like an internal obstacle, like a belief system you have to understand, like a shadow version of yourself. Something is like in the way. I can actually get very specific about what it is. But whatever it is, you're going to be understanding it. And as you understand it and overcome it, this is what's going to happen in the flying oracle card. So we will get to the positive stuff in a moment. But let's kind of hop around a little bit because that will help with the narrative. So I can see over here in the Seven of Pentacles, we're mostly talking about the concept of like a project. I do want to keep it pretty open because I'm being pulled towards people that are also working on themselves. So like maybe the project is your internal, like the better version of yourself, but I'm still also being pulled to the classic, like you're working towards something. It's like some form of long-term career goal thing, whatever it is. So we can see that whatever you've done up till now has added up to something. Here in the Queen of Wands, you're experienced, you've got the energy for it, you've read enough books, you've been in enough situations where you feel like you can speak pretty well about this particular subject. You're ready to go out in the world and make it into something where you can earn money back. It's clearly something you're passionate about. You're really excited to do it. And it's funny because we have the Page of Wands showing that it's new to you to go out in the world and make people charge money for your skills and your abilities. And it's like you're not quite sure what to do next with like your branding and things like that. But the subject itself you've got on lockdown, like double confirmation on the whole experience thing. Like you're ready for any possible anything that life has to throw at you, or client or customer or anything like that, you know what to say back because you've either been through it personally or you've read about it, which is so cool. And you should really like pride yourself on that. But here's your Moon card, your thing that's being hidden from you. That I don't want to say it's gonna stop you from being successful, but once you have overcome this or understood it, it will be the thing that carries you into very quick success. It's like you'll just completely know what to do next. You'll no longer doubt yourself. It will feel like any slight obstacle that could even go and like pop up will be something that you feel like you're just soaring over. It's not even an issue. You just have a totally different perspective of it. You're just not going to be triggered or be upset the way the old version of yourself would have been. So what is this shadow version of yourself? So the Wheel of Fortune in reverse shows when things just don't go our way. But we want to focus on the concept of the wheel itself. The wheel represents the ups and downs in life and reassuring us that when things are down, don't worry, they're going to ultimately, by default, go back up. But also when things are good, understand that things can go down again and that you shouldn't put all your weight and happiness into one thing. It shows that when we have the Knight of Wands and things aren't going our way, maybe the numbers aren't like, whether it be your sales or maybe your followers on social media as you're building this career, this thing aren't going your way, you'll want to give it all this like this attention and really burst in there like, wands a-blazing, so to speak, and be ready to be like, okay, what can I do? How can I, and you really obsess over the problem and be like, okay, how can I force this wheel to go upright? Which is great that you're so dedicated in being proactive and trying to make something happen about it. But the thing is, you're approaching it from only viewing it as, oh, something isn't going right. I'm focused on that. What do I do because something isn't going right? It's like your head is just repeating that over and over and over again. Because, and this is where it gets, I say this very lightly because this is so normal for most of us to feel this way. But the blue lace agate talks about the idea of non-attachment. It's a very peaceful crystal, and it tries to teach you that being non-attached is the way to go. This is a beautiful non-attachment sign, not only to the lack of what happens next or the possibility, because you don't worry about what happens next. You're not bothered because you're doing what you truly love, so who cares in the end? Especially with that internal knowledge, knowing that, hey, if it goes down, it's going to go up again, whatever. So it's down right now. I have more free time to take more of a break because I know if I do more work, it's not going to, I'm already doing enough as is. You know what I'm saying? It's like taking advantage of the low times, and then when it's more busy, you don't get upset that you don't have enough time for yourself. You're like, not to worry, I'm excited I'm making all this money and I have more things to do. But the non-attachment specifically talks about this like comforting message that like, you're never too old, you're never too unexperienced or too experienced, or the market's too oversaturated. You are just enough as is. Like everything's good. You don't have to be attached to your old ways of thinking or old social beliefs. That's not a thing anymore for you. As you become like more okay with the idea of non-attachment, when we talk about the ending, yourself, social norms, that's kind of a very big concept to face. I do say that with sincerity because even though it's like good practical, guidance, it's like, I don't know, we've all been so deeply socially conditioned, especially if you want to start your own business or project, how important this is. We can easily obsess about it if things aren't going right and view it as quote unquote a failure. But this is saying it's not. If you can handle these ups and downs and be non-reactionary to it, especially with the moon like representing emotions and stuff like that, the easier it will be to never falter in your general consistency moving forward, because this is a reminder that every business has ups and downs, but you won't be the one being dragged down and then kind of allowing the down to stay for too long. The best way I can put it is, let's say your numbers are going down. If you start to build an inner mantra of like, my numbers are always down, then your numbers will stay down. But if you're non-attached, you'll be like, oh yeah, whatever. It will pass as fast as it came in. You'll feel more relaxed, and like we talked about before, you'll be able to fit your schedule, because you will have a kind of up and down schedule to fit beautifully with this and be like, oh, okay, I have more free time to go for a walk and take care of myself, so when I am busy, I'll be ready for it. I'll be revived and rejuvenated enough, which is really beautiful. And this is when we get to the whole flying card, oracle card. This talks about the idea of you have these like imaginary wings, and you're just flying over all your problems to success. You've worked for this. It's all adding up now, and it's not saying that there won't still be normal obstacles and things you go through. Like everyone deals with this when they have their own business and stuff like that. Maybe someone's like an annoying client or something like that. I don't know what your particular basis is. But these problems don't even seem like problems anymore. You have a better perspective on it. You can like see the bigger picture going on. And for you, you're just kind of flying, so to speak, on happiness, bliss. You aren't reacting to anything. Think of any time you react to these obstacles, react to these emotions, even inside yourself. Think of them as chains weighing you down from flying. Your non-attachment that you will kind of face and learn to adapt to and become, and that's kind of like your hidden moon thing we talked about, your shadow self, will allow you to essentially fly over these things, and all you will see is that you are flying. You'll see the destination you're getting to, the goal, easier, and you'll just have like a happier experience and a better understanding that these things don't go away, but you can choose how you feel about them, and then you can see how you feel about them directly affects you in the moment, and how you then see the present moment and how in general how you feel overall. That's why this card pops up when it says, when I live and act from a place of spiritual alignment, I can trust that everything is working out for me, even if I don't know when or how it will happen. Again, talks about that non-attachment idea. When or how it will happen. You know it's going to happen. And you're connected to... Now, spiritual alignment's really interesting because it just depends on kind of like who you are, and we're not trying to like push beliefs here. You know, whatever works for you is the right thing. But this could be just actual spirituality. This could be connected to the universe. This could be, think of it more like this. When you say to the universe, I trust that you've got me. I'm connected to you, I'm in the flow with you, and that's what non-attachment is. It's being in the flow of the universe, because the universe is always changing and going up and down, and you're just kind of going with it, and you're in a line. You're like, I get the bigger picture. I get all of this is a joke. I get all of this is illusion. I got this. I'm with you. The more all of this is just going to be smooth sailing, because you can already trust in yourself and your abilities. You can trust in your passion. All of this is there, but by developing this mindset and being that connected to the universe and understanding that it's got your back, and that even when it seems like that's the end or that's down or something didn't go your way, and understanding like, yeah, whatever, it's just a small thing, or I'm not reacting to it, no big deal, whatever, next thing, then that's it. You can't be touched. You'll only be successful. You will attract more success by default because that's where you're kind of aligned with. You will, when you experience the downs, they just won't even bother you or affect you. You'll only experience better things and feel lighter and lighter. That's the main thing I want you to take from this, is that as you get more spiritually aligned, and we're putting quotes around that, it should feel very light. This is just a side note because we're going through a 5D shift. If you are experiencing any sense of lightness to the point that you feel like you're floating and kind of feel spacey, you should get really attuned with grounding. There's different forms of grounding. My personal version of grounding is when you think of your hand. So you look at your hand and you think about what the insides feel like, until you're like, what does the inside of my hand feel like? And then you think about your forearms and you work your way through to your torso, all that jazz, until all you're thinking about is you're in the present moment and you're just connected to your body. That's the general vibe of being able to be like, I'm here, I'm present, I'm within myself. You can think of roots going down from the bottom of your spine into the earth. Earth knows all about grounding. It can help you with that. This will be kind of I think it's very ironic to hear that as you feel like you're flying up, you want to make sure you hold yourself down. Don't worry, you'll still spiritually like feel really good and go up, but if you go up too much and you don't have that grounding, it feels weird. I speak from personal experience. So anyways, I'm very excited for your success, and this very like yin, is it yin and yang? Oh no, now I'm thinking about it. Is it yin and yang or yin and yang? It's yin and yang, right? I can't believe I've never thought about this until now. Anyways, you'll have this beautiful yin and yang sort of experience going on with tangible money, things in this world, but you're almost like mentally flying above all of it on a spiritual plane and being like, yep, it's all an illusion, whatever happens, happens. You know what I mean? It's really interesting. So I'm excited for you and your journey. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like, comment, subscribe. It helps out the channel like you would not believe. Have a lovely day. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. And yeah, bye!